mysteries embraced. Captain's quarters sets the pace with Captain Mayhem at the helm. A voyage of knowledge, a story to round. Captain's quarters weekly delight, where history's treasures take flight. Led by Mayhem, Longwood, and Joe, they explore the past, row by row. Navigator Longwood charts the course, guiding listeners to knowledge's source. Cartographer Joe, with maps in hand, unveils the secrets of time.
We have people have gotten back on, Captain.
I see that.
Okay.
We'll wait for a minute or two extra. I see Jim's there. I see Zachary made it. Dee has made it. Mandy Jo made it, but she had a leg up on everybody. Blackball made it. Let's see if the others will make it here. We'll see what happens here as we wait for them. In fact, while we're waiting for them, I think we need to put a little bit more rum in our glass. What do you think?
I agree.
All right, we need a little more rum. One ice cube and a little rum and a splash of Coke.
Hey, that's the secret part.
Yeah, that'll be fine.
Might as well kill it.
Yeah, go ahead. Ransom made it. Good, good.
So it will work. Yay.
So we see it works. That's good. We see everybody on board. And also we want everybody that's coming in, we want you to know that this is an opportunity. You're actually kind of, without being on the screen, you're still a part of the show. So if you have questions for the guest, whoever it happens to be, which tonight we know who it is, hey, you want to come sit on the bench with us?
You want to?
Sure.
Okay.
Gotta give you a skeleton.
Let me move my skeleton and we'll put you on the bench here.
I don't know. I think you're interesting. Take your drink. See, now you have to fill it up with Coke so it looks like you're drinking with us.
Okay.
That, or you have to drink more.
I am driving, so I should not drink more.
This is my brother.
Does he know that that's him?
Yeah. He thought it was funny.
That's funny.
Oh, that was not a good noise.
What a maroon! What an ignoramus!
Noise. I just broke something that I was supposed to. I'm not going to say what I did. Never mind. I just broke something. Now you know why the rum is gone. Captain's losing it. No, he's not. Dumbass.
He's lost it. We're beyond that.
Yeah, we're beyond that. So we have one extra guest sitting here. Let's see. I see Ransom. Ransom made it too. Very good. Made it in. Very good. I didn't see you in the first part of the show, so you've made it into this part. So everyone, if you got a glass, we'll raise a cheer here quick. And I'm going to let Nicole introduce who this funny-looking guy is here.
I am funny looking.
This is my boyfriend. This is Jonathan. So he's also happy to be here. He actually is a little bit more used to doing podcasts than I am because he works in tech.
He does. He works. So he's been sitting over. The reason I wanted him to sit here is because if he's going to sit here and laugh at me, he might as well do it in front of me, not over behind my back over there. So we've got him in here, and we've got Nicole. So let's recap real quick. Nicole, in what year did you leave the country?
2018.
2018. And so she was overseas during COVID. And that probably wasn't much fun over in Europe.
No fun at all.
Yeah.
So Europe went into a full and complete total lockdown. I had to carry papers and documents saying, so if the police stopped me, I could say, no, I'm going to work. I have permission to be outside of curfew because they had a curfew. I think it was like 9 a.m. to like 7 p.m. or something. So you had to do all your shopping, go to the pharmacy and everything between those hours. Otherwise, you weren't allowed to be outside. So no fun.
The entire world went into meltdown over COVID. And we won't make this part of the show anything about that. But in the long run, looking back at it, it was pretty much a lot of overkill. But I'm not going to make this a political show because they shut down in Florida too. But we were the first state to actually jump open.
Yeah, I know Nevada shut down a lot too because a lot of people in Nevada do bowling now.
Mhm.
And my stepfather told me they do bowling because bowling alleys were one of the only places that could get around the restrictions to stay open during COVID.
So everybody became bowlers. you wonder
got into bowling.
You wonder why they didn't become golfers then, because golfers was outside. But I always found it hilariously funny, just to throw some humor into this. I always found it hilariously funny to see two things when it came to masks. You're in a car all by yourself with the windows up and you're still wearing your mask. That was always silly to me.
That's funny, yeah.
Yeah. Or you're riding a motorcycle with the helmet on and you got a mask on.
Oh, I never saw that.
Yeah, I saw that a couple of times. That's silly.
That's actually funny.
Yeah, some people took it a little bit too far, but let's go back anyway to what we're doing. So 2018, you went to Austria, you enrolled in this great school, and you are now a certified chef.
Yes.
You are the bomb.
I try to be.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So we made comment, there it is there, the Pastry Academy. And how long did you have to go to school for that?
So the Pastry Academy was only 10 weeks. I was actually very, very lucky. It was the last session they got to do the full 10 weeks. And what's great about it is you do 1 week. Each week is a new part of pastry. So there was breads, there were tarts, there were travel cakes, there was chocolate.
Oh, wait. Stop. In case anybody wants to know, when we were talking about how Vegas was run by the mob and the hookers, that's where the tarts came in. Okay, go ahead.
But no, it was great. It was a great experience. And then the college I did was 2 years. So I feel like it wasn't a lot of schooling, but it really, you got as much out of it as you put into it. So I expected that I was going to have weekends off. It was only Monday to Friday. I could leave Friday night, come back Sunday evening, be in class Monday to Friday, and I could go travel to California, Arizona, New Mexico. That obviously didn't happen. I studied all weekend. I took notes every single night. I was really writing recipes and notes and practicing everything I learned in the week because I didn't want to feel like I had just thrown away all of this money. So what I thought was going to happen, the exact opposite happened. You
worked your hindquarters off.
Yep.
And you made a comment.
It paid off.
You made a comment just a second ago. You get out of it what you put into it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's very important that people need to understand. It doesn't matter what it is you're doing. That is an actual grand thought. And what makes it even grander is I like it when I have young people in my lives, young people, that actually have that kind of thought process. It's very important. What's that?
I said not you. He's a few years older than me, so I always make sure you go and we say he's old.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So you work at Komodo's right now?
Yeah, I work at Komodo. It's an Asian fusion restaurant. It's based out of Miami actually, but I'm part of their pastry team there. So it's me and like 4 other people and 2 chefs. And it's a blast. It's great. I love the kitchen. I love kitchen culture. So actually being a pirate prepared me very well for that because kitchen culture comes directly from Sado culture on ships.
Absolutely it does.
With the hierarchy and the pecking order. Mm-hmm. And you gotta listen, but you work hard, you play hard. So it all works out.
So you've been at Komodo's for how long now?
It'll be a year in June.
But when you went to Vegas, you didn't start there, right?
No, I moved.
I'm trying to remember all the things we've talked about. So
yeah, I did Vegas. I moved to Europe. That was 2018. I moved to Vegas in February of 24. And then from March until May, I did the Pastry Academy. And then I took a week off to spend some time with family. And the beginning of June, I started working at Komodo.
So what's your favorite pastry to do?
At Komodo or ever?
Let's do both. Let's do Komodo first because you made a comment the other night, and I know what it is. You do lots of cheesecakes.
Yeah.
Which is it.
Yeah. So I think American the American idea of what a pastry is very simple. And I think Americans think sugar is a flavor and sugar is not a flavor where I come from. So I love working with dough, like bread dough or croissants, like any kind of laminated dough. I think is a ton of fun to work with. I think the options are absolutely limitless with what you can do. But I am particularly interested in taking things that are not typical to pastry and making them work for pastry.
That's cool. So, have you done anything? Let me rephrase the question. Have you done anything that is like your own idea, your own invention, for lack of a better word? Have you done anything that you actually can say, nobody did this, I've done this, look at this, it's pretty cool?
No, I wouldn't say so.
Not yet.
Not yet.
But
not yet. I have a few ideas. Part of what I loved about the schooling I did in Vegas is it helped make more of these ideas a reality. I think we discussed years ago, I always wanted to dedicate a dessert to you. So
My
that was
birthday
always
came
very
and gone
important.
again this year, no cake.
Sorry, guys.
So
slacking off.
Well, the reason I ask is because, and we've talked about this
Mhm.
before, this part of the world, St. Augustine, probably from here to, and Jim can correct me, but with the Menorcans having come over here also, daddle peppers are this part. Are there spicy pastries?
Kind of, sort of.
Could
I
you
mean,
make spicy pastries?
you could definitely do it. I mean, you can also think of it with cocktail flavors. Like cocktails are a great gangway into pastry, because with cocktails you think like mezcal is very smoky, but what are you typically pairing it with is something sweeter to offset the smokiness. So mezcal, you'll do like berries with it, specifically like dark earthy berries. So like cherry pairs great with it, blackberry goes great with it, herbs, so rosemary, things like that. It's kind of the same concept. Where also, if you think of so we have at Komodo, we have tomka halibut, which is a kind of fish, and it's based off the tomka soup, the Thai tomka soup, which is coconut milk and Thai chilies. So you can kind of tie that.
Very spicy.
Very spicy, very spicy. But you can tie this into cocktails too, where you do like coconut lime and the Thai chili. And it's kind of the same thing with pastry. You have your trifecta, so you focus on 3 flavors. So if I say I want to do something with citrus, I say, okay, this is the state of Florida. We're going to do orange. There's my citrus. So super refreshing. But if I want to do something a little more interesting, maybe I go with orange blossom, which is citrus, but also a floral. Then both of these are a little sweet. So maybe I offset that with like, dark chocolate that's a little more earth toned and grounded, or black pepper or something to really like break it up.
So what's the strangest thing you've used in a pastry? Or the most, maybe strange is not the right word. How about if we use the most unconventional, something that you would most people would not think would be in a pastry, and they would go, because Americans are really bad about this. I ain't eating that.
This is
but
great.
When they eat it, they'll find it's great.
This is great. So in the South, we have candied bacon. So I'm sure anyone from the South knows and loves candied bacon. We had duck
Anything bacon.
Yeah. We had duck week at Komodo because Komodo has the Peking duck. Is that what it's called in English? Yeah. Sorry. The Peking duck. And we did a special that was white sesame brown butter ice cream with a sesame pecan crumble and candied duck skin. Tasted great, phenomenal flavor. Like we added a little bit of 5 spice into the duck skin.
People turned their nose up at it, didn't they?
Yeah, people read duck skin and refused to order it.
Wow. Let's see. So Jim says, I'm pretty sure Mayhem would just be happy with a tart instead of all the calories of a whole cake. Yeah, you're probably right. So there's a couple of us in the gallery that have traveled around the world.
Oh, this is Komodo's dessert menu, actually. Yeah.
Very good, Davey.
Oh, this is specific to Vegas too.
Yes. So this has got to be what Nicole makes.
These are all the things you make.
These are all the things I do.
So I got to put it on there.
This is exactly
Banana pagoda.
Yep, that's our cheesecake.
Trio of mochi sorbet.
Yeah.
Good fortune.
That's the dessert plateau.
Right.
So that's going to have 6 different desserts on it with fruit.
Zen garden. What are Sakura pearls?
Sakura is cherry blossom.
Oh, okay.
So
right.
we have a cherry blossom syrup with tapioca.
It's a beautiful presentation.
Is it
actually,
really?
the Zen Garden, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, anything, is Komodo primarily Japanese, or is it just,
It's Asian fusion, so it's a little bit of everything.
all right.
We have a lot of Filipino, so almost all of our chefs, except for 3 of them, are Filipino actually.
I would eat any one of all of them.
Mm-hmm.
I'd probably eat all of them. I like them. The dragon fruit sorbet. I make a dragon fruit hot rum,
Ooh,
buttered rum,
ooh.
with using dragon fruit rum.
Oh, I bet that's good.
It is very good. It is.
I bet
It's
that's
really
really
good. Yeah, hot buttered rum with using dragon fruit. Espresso crumbles and vanilla ice cream. That's pretty simple, but skinny dip chocolate peanut caramel bar. That sounds like it's just about sweet enough to turn you inside out.
Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty good, Davey. You were quick on that one. Very good. So, what I was going to say before you pop that up, I've traveled the world because of my military career, and I know a few of the others that are here have done some traveling around the world. I know that your dad is watching, and he traveled the world. And our other guest here, you're Cuban American.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, proper to say it that way? Is that okay?
Sure,
with you?
yeah. I grew up here, so.
But you grew up here.
Mm-hmm.
But the Cubans have a whole variety of food.
Mm-hmm.
And when we talked the other night, you've been to several other countries around the world.
Yeah, especially Asia. I love Asia.
Yeah. I love Japan. Japan, Taiwan, Philippines. I went to Hong Kong, but now I'm no longer allowed to go to Hong Kong. So great foods, but I love, and you probably will be the same way. You go to these countries, you go to these little tiny restaurants, they're like hole in the wall. There might be 3 or 4 or 5 tables in the place. And sometimes you just go in and sit down. They're not going to ask you what you want. They're just going to bring it to you. And it's wonderful.
Yeah.
It's some of the best food in the world.
Very personal, like very, humble place, but the flavors are just incredible. Like usually locally sourced. And it'll be some of the best cuisines that you'll have in your life.
And because it's locally sourced, it's probably the freshest you'll get.
Right.
When it comes to vegetables, bok choy and carrots and things that the Japanese people use in their food. A carrot right out of the ground is better than a carrot out of the store.
I remember one instance hiking the Himalayas. We stopped by this village, and everything that we ate that night, it was a wonderful presentation of like potatoes, like fish, greens, and everything was just what was grown on the farm. So like whatever we ate that night was just everything that they just produced there.
It's a wonderful way to experiment with food, and I always find it. I want to say I have a problem with people with this in this situation, but that's not really what it is. I was always taught if you don't know what it tastes like, you never tried it, you can't say anything bad about it.
Mm-hmm.
You have to try it. And there's some things I put in my mouth that I didn't like. I was never a fan of sea urchin for the longest time. But our favorite restaurant here in St. Augustine is Ginger Bistro, and he makes sea urchin. And now I'll eat sea urchin. So, it's always the same. So let's see. Zachary Harker says, I worked at a number of restaurants. At one point, I was a freelance cook, was on call at 3 different locations while having a full-time job.
Yeah.
And Zachary's up in Michigan, so it's cold up there. So they eat a lot of snow.
Great flavor.
Great flavor. In Italy on Sunday after church, the whole afternoon was a 7 or 8 course meal. It was served family style and everyone had plenty. And my wife tells me that, did you travel to Italy when you were over there?
I did. Actually, right before I moved here, I took 2 weeks and I traveled all over Italy. So I missed like the island. So I didn't really get to go to Sicily, but I did get to do Capri and went all the way down to Sorrento in Naples, which is southern Italy, and then drove back up.
See, the Americans do things backwards to what the Italians do.
Mm-hmm.
The salad is like the second, third, or fourth course of the meal. It's not the first course like we do here in the United States.
Yeah.
Something just hit my head here. While you were over there, didn't you run into or go specifically and visit Sadie and Daryl?
I didn't. I always wanted to, but it never quite worked out.
They're another
time-wise.
couple that are part of our crew still. They still know what we're doing, and they're part of the crew. But they went from here to Greece, then to Germany, then to Spain, and I think now they're in Germany.
Mm-hmm.
I think so. And they had a little girl while they were over there, and I have yet to see my little offspring of them. So we'll see. Will the historian, chef, you would love to work with, even if it's one dinner shift. Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Will the historian is my son up in northern Alabama. So let's
That's a
see.
hard question. Honestly, one chef I've always admired that actually from my childhood, when I was about 8 years old, is when I really got into cooking. There was a guy that his hobby was gourmet cooking, and he helped introduce me into how to properly chop. His favorite chef was Jacques Pepin, who's a French chef that worked with Julia Child. And Julia Child is the woman that is responsible for making French cooking accessible to just about anyone.
And she's considered to be probably the goddess of all.
Yeah. She's
chefs
insane, and she's got a great personality. I mean, you can find her old shows. She's like beating stuff with a rolling pin, and actually that's what you do if you need to soften dough up. You beat it with a rolling pin. So every time I do it, I think of Julia Child. But I would love to have some of Jacques Pepin's insight.
So when it comes to bread,
Mm-hmm.
off my mustache. When it comes to bread, my favorite bread is sourdough. What do you like?
For savory sourdough, yeah. Sourdough usually has the best flavor. There's Julia Child now up on the screen, actually.
Now she's no longer alive, right?
No, she passed away.
Yeah, she passed away.
She did pass away.
Okay, so you have an opportunity to go to a different place. Do you want to say anything in this here, or do you need to keep that a secret right now?
We'll pass until it's happening.
There you go. Okay. All right. Like I told you the other night, if I ask you something and we don't want to talk about it, all you have to do is give me a good answer. So
yeah,
that's the perfect answer.
Yeah.
I like that. So, and it's a good opportunity, but you have to make the decision on your own and figure out what you want to do.
Well, it's a hard line to walk to, because right now I have great community. The only thing I'm not happy with is I'm not happy with the work that I'm doing. I don't feel like I'm pushing myself hard enough. It's just very, I mean, like you mentioned earlier, it's cheesecakes. It's simple. It's cheesecake, it's mousse, it's sorbet. I feel like there's a lack of art to it until the assembly of it. And that's really what I'm missing. But I love the guys in my kitchen. We get along great. We all cut up and, talk smack with each other, and it's a great working environment with them. So I'm really grateful for them.
And I'll say this because of our conversation the other night, and it still doesn't give away anything.
Mm-hmm.
You're in a position where you have to make a decision.
Mm-hmm.
Do you stay with what you're at and you're making good money and you have a good environment, or do you take this different road, which may not be the money you're making now,
right,
but has the future potential for notoriety, for a good word, I guess, notoriety. Yeah. And you have to make a decision. That's a good decision process you have to do. That's a good position to be in.
Yeah.
Because neither decision you make is going to be bad for you.
Right.
They're both good decisions.
Right.
Either way. I mean, many of us have been in those kind of positions. I had to make a decision to get out of the military and stay in the military. When I got out of the military, once in a while, my wife will say, well, you should have stayed in the military and gotten that extra 5 years. Yeah, we would never have met. You wouldn't be here with me.
Yeah.
I mean, so you have to look at those things. So,
I'm a firm believer that things happen for a reason. And actually, when I was hired for Komodo, I was offered the sous chef position, which is second or at most third in command. So that's like a high position. I'm 25 years old. And at the time I was 24. So being offered that, having literally just turned 24, less like 2 or 3 months in.
This much expertise, so to say.
Right, and that's how I felt about it. And I was terrified. I remember telling the executive chef, who I'm still great friends with, and she's always like, you need to push yourself. You're always scared of failure. And she's right. I am scared of failure. I think everyone is.
It's common.
Yeah.
It is. So,
I feel like everyone's bound to fail at least once in their life. And I think that's what scares me the most.
so I'm going to put you on the spot for this one, and it's going to be a silly one. So don't worry about it if it doesn't work out. Sous chef. It's spelled S-O-U-S, right?
Yeah.
Where does the word sous come from, and what does it actually mean?
I have no idea.
See, put you on the spot. I have no idea, but I hear it all the time, and I have friends that are sous chefs, and I go, what's a sous chef? So Jim says, my wife loves to watch Cake Boss. I found he is a great decorator, but his desserts don't strike me as exotic. That's a good observation. That's pretty cool.
Well, I think it's also less about being exotic. I mean, what defines as exotic? What's exotic to someone from Florida might not be quite exotic, or what's something that's a local flavor might not be a local flavor for someone from Cuba, from Nevada. So I think exotic is relative.
Is a relative term.
Right.
Absolutely right. Do you see yourself staying in Las Vegas all this time, or do you think you're going to go somewhere else?
I think ultimately I'll relocate, but for the time being, I think Vegas is where I need to be. I think Vegas has a lot of great opportunities to work under amazing chefs and really learn a lot about the trade. And I mean, Vegas could open doors for me and has opened doors for me that I was talking about this with my mom and with him a couple days ago about like how grateful I am, even if I don't get the jobs, just to have had the opportunity to work in these kitchens and just to know like I could do it. I am capable of doing it. And my chefs know I'm capable of doing it.
The other thing to look at too is just the fact that you might have been considered for that position by other people.
Well,
that's a flattering thing.
Well, that's one of my biggest regrets too, is like throwing down the position. She told me, I really think you should take it. And I turned it down because I was 24. I had just come out of a long-term relationship. So I was newly single. I'm in Vegas. I wanted to have more of a free time and live my 20s, you know, whatever you want to say living your 20s is. I wanted to have the free time to go out and meet people and live my life and be young and be pretty and go out in like the one of the biggest party towns on Vegas and not always be tired because a sous chef is 60-hour work weeks.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to work 60 hours at the time, so I turned it down.
So now let's step away from your career for a minute. Because you've met this man and he's in your life, you are now a dancer.
Yes.
And we're talking about proper dancing.
Partner dancing.
Yeah.
Partner dancing. We're not talking about anything that requires a pole.
There's actually a funny story that comes out of that. So I met him and we met at a country bar in Vegas, and he taught me how to do country swing, which is a form of dance.
And stop before I go anywhere. From the time you told me that the other night till now, I still have a problem. Okay, not a problem. I still find it humorous in my head. A Cuban and country dancing. I don't know why. It
You know, country was never something that I even gravitated towards. And we have a mutual friend, Anthony, and 6 years ago I did ballroom dancing, and I did competitive ballroom dancing. It was really random. I saw this anime, which is just Japanese cartoons about ballroom dancing, and it was such an inspiring show that I'm like, I want to do that just randomly. And I had friends that were just laughing at me for like, oh, you're going to do this. And it's an expensive hobby.
Oh, well, it is. And if you think about it, and we're getting away from your career for a minute, but that's what this is all about, is to just have fun and talk. If you think about it, ballroom dancing, formal dancing, this will show you that I actually know something. Some of your most prolific and successful dancers are Latin, because the Latin dance of all of those things all blends together, and they're all similarities to them.
Right.
And most of your successful award-winning dancers are Latin.
The technique blends together. You know, you do straight leg dancing, and your power comes from the hips. There's not a lot of The other types of dances, they don't come from the hips. Like they may come from just more of angling, right? Instead of moving through the hips and having like that power come through. But anyway, I started ballroom dancing, did that competitively, did salsa as a social dance. And one of our friends, I took him out and I showed him what that world was like. And I started traveling for 4 years. I come back and now he's a country dancer. And he's like, oh, come to the bars. Like, let me show you this part of Vegas. And I'm like, oh, I don't think I'll like it. I don't even listen to country music. And I just fell in love with it. It was such like a beautiful dance. And for those of you who aren't familiar with dancing or the technique of dancing, swing is as a partner dance. You get swing because you start together, you come apart, so that you with any basic, and then you come back together. You may swap places, and you have this rubber band effect, and that's where the swing comes in. So it's a stationary dance that's rotational, and you have a lot of power that comes from that elasticity. And it's just country swing is really easy to learn. It's very approachable. So it was easy for her to pick it up, and
that's how you met,
Right.
and now you're dancing together.
Yeah, we competed together in Utah, and we made finals, but we didn't place. So that's next.
That's all right.
But that was her 2 months of dancing together.
Well,
Or dancing period for her.
William Howell says sous chef under in French. So assistant chef or under chef. Oh, well, thank you very much for that. Now I know. We're all about learning here. We're all about having fun and learning from different ways. I hear who's trying to message me?
I think it's all the way over there.
Yeah, it is. It's Facebook. I'm not going to worry about it right now. That looks interesting. What is that?
That's
It looks like a pastry.
guava and coconut, no?
Yeah, guava, coconut looks like, or guava and cheese pastry.
Yeah,
It's a
this
Cuban
looks like a
pastry.
Cuban pastry, actually. So this is, I was just telling them because we went to the Cuban bakery in St. Augustine off of Hippolyta Street.
Yep.
Highly recommend. Great food, honestly. Like, I was really shocked because I had never been there, so I was looking for the spots I'd been to. But it's just a puff pastry and then like guava jam.
They do a Cuban sandwich there too, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think I've had it, and there's
Yeah.
only 2 places in St. Augustine that does a good Cuban sandwich, and they're one of them.
Mhm.
Yeah, they're one
Yeah,
of
they were great.
them. If offered a spot on a cooking or baking competition, which would you choose, cooking or baking?
I mean, I choose baking. I specialize in pastry, but I had a friend. So the Great British Baking Show is coming to America, so they're going to do the Great American Baking Show. And a good friend of mine sent me the link and was like, "You should absolutely apply. You'd win." And I looked at it, and it says in the like rules, you can't apply if you've been to culinary school within the last 6 years or you're actively working in the field.
Really?
Well,
Yeah.
you're out then, aren't you?
That's why I didn't apply for it.
Oh,
yeah,
you're
I was
out.
like, oh, okay, well,
Well,
that's
why
nice.
would they do that?
Well, it's supposed to be for amateurs.
Oh, okay.
So if you're an amateur and like someone's working professionally, they kind of have a leg up on you in the
Yeah.
competition.
I understand that.
Yeah.
I had that situation happen to me a couple of times when it came to doing talent shows.
Yeah.
As a professional magician,
Yeah.
I wasn't really allowed to compete in a talent show.
Well, I think you can walk with like a really decent sum of money too. So I think they don't want like it being flooded by professionals, and then you're going more like master chef level, and then it kind of takes away from just the home cooks.
So do you
know?
watch any of these cooking shows on TV?
I don't watch much TV actually. Most of my free time is tied up in
Dancing.
dancing.
Absolutely.
Actually, yeah.
It's
It's
a problem.
a lot.
So we'll throw you into this. You work in the tech world.
Mhm.
What do you do exactly?
Do you have any apps on your phone?
I do.
Like Calm or Headspace or any of these apps, right?
I don't think I have those, but okay.
Have you ever paid for a subscription for one of these apps?
Not me, because I tend to not want to put anything on my phone. I want my.
Mandy's saying yes.
What's that?
Mandy's saying yes. She's familiar with those apps.
I'm very familiar with all of those apps. I figure Captain there is not, after he put one app on his phone that basically destroyed it that I had to help get off of it the other day.
Yeah, And let's be honest, it was an app that said, we're going to keep track of your blood pressure and your heart rate. I put it on there, and then my phone just went crazy and I couldn't make it do anything. So
okay.
I needed Mandy to help me get my phone back in order, which she did, but she also connected, the way I see it, she also connected my Instagram and my Facebook all together. So now I'm getting all kinds of messages back and forth everywhere. And technology is not my friend.
I connected you to the Captain's Quarters Facebook and Instagram. That's what I
Yes.
did.
and I'm getting all kinds of messages. It's okay though. I'm learning. I mean, the only way to do it is just like my dad taught us how to swim: pick us up, throw us in the water.
Yeah.
That's it.
So I learned those.
So you build or make these apps.
I have my own apps. Yeah. My full time though, I am the founding designer at Superwall. So going back to those apps, if you've ever subscribed for any iOS application on your phone, there's a page that comes up when you're ready to buy, which gives you the feature list, the comparison table of free versus pro and what you may be missing out on. And maybe you want to subscribe weekly, monthly, or yearly. That page is something that we manage for a lot of different apps so that you can experiment on what design might look better, what price packaging might look better. Like, let's just show the yearly pricing with a big button to buy now instead of showing all three different options. And then let's try that version with three different options, 50-50, and see what converts more people. So that we build software that lets you do that remotely. So that's what I do essentially full time.
Wow.
And I built about 4,000 of those paywalls for different customers now. And I think I've done more paywalls than anyone on the planet.
Wow. Are you paid per piece or paid by the company?
No, I'm the founding designer at this company, so I have equity stake in it, and we're on 2 billion iPhones actually. So we have a lot of phones, and it's just the more valuable the company gets, the more valuable my equity in the company becomes.
Well, that's kind of nice. Wow. Maybe I'm going to have to change careers.
Yeah, I always joke around. I refuse to buy anything on apps. So I always joke around. I'm absolutely not his target audience, because as soon as I get the paywall page, I'm like, oh, okay, I don't actually need this app for anything, and I delete the app.
So I've probably seen those pages, and then I go, well, if I got to pay for it, I don't want it.
Well,
Yeah.
you paid for StreamYard, and when you went to
Yep.
StreamYard to pay for it, there was a specific page that showed which plan you wanted to select.
Yep.
That's a paywall
Yep.
on the web, but
Yep.
it's a paywall nonetheless.
Yeah,
So
he does that for apps.
it's my job to figure out, understand human psychology and like simplify those pages to get more people to purchase.
To make it so it feels more comfortable to purchase.
That's right. You're doing objection handling. You're doing anything that you might do in sales, but presented in a static page.
See, I just bought a new phone. It's got all kinds of stuff on it. I want a phone that just does phone, but I'm
You
learning.
need a jitterbug.
What's that?
You need a jitterbug.
No, I don't want to go that
You need
simple.
an old BlackBerry.
Yeah, almost. Yeah. But I'm learning. It does more and more. I also have this other thing too. You might find it hilariously funny. I think it is. I get so upset with people. Well, I messaged you. You didn't message me back. Well, I will eventually, but just because it's called instant messaging doesn't mean it's instant answering.
For a really long time, I had that as my Instagram bio. You posted it on Facebook years ago, and I thought that was so great and so funny. It was like, yeah, actually, I'm going to make that my Instagram bio.
That's it. That's the way.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it.
Yeah.
So as we wander through this conversation that has jumped from food to electronics, which is fine. I mean, the whole purpose of us having guests is to just talk, and hopefully we touch things that people are interested in. I do want to say this, because we didn't say it on the first show. Is Will the Historian still online there, Davey? Can you tell?
He was on there at 9.
Yeah. I just want to say, hey, how's my granddaughter doing? They just had a baby girl not quite 2 weeks ago.
Oh, wow.
So, and then Kara's granddaughter had a grandson last night. And we have 2 other friends that had babies last night in the same hospital. So there's babies everywhere. It's raining babies. It's terrible. So I loved Vegas when we lived in Vegas, but as we lived there longer and longer, it just Vegas got old to us, because I think Vegas is a young man's town. It's not an old man's town.
Yeah.
And
I never really understood what you meant by that until I lived
until you
there.
moved there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I lived there just under a year, and it just gets very old. It's very like boring, and so I don't really listen to EDM that much, and a lot of my
neither
friends
of you gamble, do you?
Well,
Yeah.
Plays poker.
You play,
Yeah, but I don't
it's-
do it at the strip. I'm
I
just
don't know.
for
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah. Yeah. If you don't gamble,
Vegas is boring.
Vegas can be boring, and
Yeah.
the shows are expensive nowadays.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Yeah, the Sphere, like for the nosebleed section at the Sphere, it's like $500
Yeah.
tickets.
It's become very commercialized.
Yeah.
It has been.
Yeah.
It has very much so. When I moved to Vegas in the 80s, gosh, it makes me feel really old. When I moved to Vegas in the 80s, you tipped the maitre d' and you got a better seat. You wore decent clothing to go out.
Yeah.
You know, nowadays.
Well, it's funny. I think Vegas still has a little bit of that. I see Dad's comment. That's actually
there should be
funny.
no rain in Vegas.
That's speaking about the greenie babies.
Yeah. Oh, my son said she is sleeping and growing. Of course she's sleeping and growing. I can't wait to be able to carry her around and hold her myself. I'm looking forward to it. So yeah, there'll be good one, D. I'll give you that one. Good one.
But no, I think there's still a little bit of that. Like if you go clubbing, so I've gone clubbing a couple times with my sister, and how can I politely put
And this is your twin sister, right?
This is my twin sister.
Right.
We don't wear the typical raunchy
Hoochie Mama.
hoochie mama. That's a good. Yeah, we don't dress like that. We try. I mean, we still want to look hot, of course. We're in our 20s. We still want to look hot, a little sexy if we're going to the club, but it's not quite hoochie mama. You know, it's not like the baby bikinis and the mini skirts that don't exist. And we get in the door first because we have our makeup on. We look nicer. We'll be in like a slip dress or something a bit nicer with more taste
from my
to it.
experience doing security for Sunset Station for
Mhm.
6 years, in my experience,
There she is.
is that your sister?
Yeah,
It
that's
is?
Noelle.
Noelle.
Yeah, that is Noelle. Bouncers and security do size people up.
Yeah.
And it does not matter what anybody says, because I'll argue with people on this all the time.
Mhm.
First impressions when it comes to security and safety of people, first impressions are very important.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you look like a reasonably sane person because of the way you dress, the chances are you are a reasonably sane person.
Right.
But if you dress outlandishly silly, it means that you need attention, and you're going to do a lot of things that cause attention, and that's not what bars and
You know, I never thought about it from that perspective.
Yeah.
I thought it was just how you want the bar represented.
yeah. Well,
Like, would you rather have someone that has a little bit more like class and maybe looks like, you know, I've been told my whole life it looks like we come for money because, you know, I sit up straight. I don't I present myself very well.
well, I will say this. There are a few young people in my immediate life, and you're
Mhm.
one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a couple of others, young people in my life that I have to put out the word that the parents, that would be you, D, the parents have done a wonderful job with their children.
Mm-hmm.
When all these school tours I do, I can tell the children that have good parents and good family, and I can tell the ones that don't.
Yeah.
And, you know, that many school tours doesn't make me an expert, but I can sure tell you that appearances and attitude and behavior and manners are very important. People, you know.
They don't have that. I think also people have lost the art of conversation. So like,
That's true.
I think, you know, you put me here, we've kind of jumped from cooking to dancing to electronics to now mannerisms and dressing for the club, but we're kind of jumping around a lot, but it's flowing. It's a conversation. It's not like an interview where you're like, do you like chocolate? Yes. Do you like this? Yes.
And that's also one of the other reasons
People can't do that anymore.
No, they can't. And every show we've done, because this is 3 years now, every show
Mhm.
we've done when we bring guests in, in the pre-show, before anybody sees anything, and I'll tell everybody this, I always ask one question before we start. And that one question is there anything, and I asked you this the other night, is there anything you do not want to talk about? Otherwise, the entire conversation is going to be improv and ad lib.
Right.
Because that's a natural conversation.
Right.
You watch some of the talk shows on television, and you can tell that the host asks a question and the guest has an answer. That's because the guests were given the questions before the show ever started.
Right.
And I don't do that.
No, you lose the art. It's the loss of art of conversation.
And that's one of my Vegas pictures.
Love that.
That's from the 90s, actually. Yep. I think that might be from the 80s. That one was from the 80s. No, wait. Because of the costume, because of the outfit, that was from the 90s. I remember that. There's another one in there that's from the 90s. Davey, do you have the one with the crystal ball and the rabbit? It's a black and white also. If you have that one, that's the one.
Mandy wanted to say she had to go because she has to show houses in the morning, but it was a great time. Right. And she sent Nicole a friend request, just so you.
Okay,
yeah,
good.
I'll go back.
Good, because then you can go up to Utah and go visit up there. There's
some
great
we'll see.
places
Especially if I'm not walking. We have a friend with land in Utah actually, so
you can do that. Yeah, if you have that picture and you can find it, throw it up there. If not, don't worry about it. But it is my 80s Vegas picture. I remember that. So, what are you doing?
Well, I pushed the table.
Oh,
so
okay.
I was fixing the
It's
table.
all right. It's okay. It doesn't matter. So what should I ask you next? Because this is the fun part. Oh, there you go. That's my 80s picture. That's my Burt Reynolds mustache. Or
they're becoming big again. They're like, especially in the country scene. One of my good friends has one. Yeah.
Now I have a few friends, and if that picture gets popped up, they'll go bow chicka wow wow. Yeah. So let's see. Oh, I can tell you stories about parents and their kids. Yes, as a teacher, I am sure you can. Will the historian is a history and civics teacher up in Alabama. I'm very proud of all the work he does. So, yeah, it's you can tell. You can tell about people. I mean, you're working in a classy restaurant, but you get some unclassy people coming in there, don't you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I vividly remember
and
there were 3 girls. So you have the expo, which is the counter at the front with the chefs right behind them, yelling out the orders and sending the food out. There were 3 girls that were very scantily clad. There was a massive lack of clothing. And they walked past, my executive chef went, yeah, have a good night. And then immediately turned around and went, why did they look like that? It was the funniest thing. We were all in hysterics the rest of the night, but yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting when people look in the mirror and they're like, oh, this is nice. I'm going to wear this.
You got to wonder what they think when they wear pajama pants and a t-shirt.
Yeah.
In public.
Yeah.
I mean, and I've had some kids come in on my school tours.
Yeah.
And they're standing there and they're wearing pajamas, and I go, well, it's nice that you dressed to come to St. Augustine. I mean,
yeah.
It's just it's attitude and manner. So
right.
Let's get back to your career. Because I think I think you're going to become, if not mega famous, I think with knowing you and your talents and everything else and your drive, I think you are going to become somebody that people are going to know down the road. It may not be over the next couple of years, but I think a good 10 years down the road, you're going to have made a mark in the world of the chefs. I think that. And the reason I think that is because I've known you since you were 13, and you're stubborn in a good way. You're forceful in a good way, and you can just shake your head, right? You're forceful. You actually know what you want, and you go for it, which I mean, to me, you went to Europe to study. There's a lot of people that wouldn't take that leap. And you went to Europe, and you knew nobody over there when you went.
Yeah, I knew one person.
Oh yeah, who?
Yeah, the ex.
Oh really? You knew him before you went?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, we met in high school. He did an exchange year, and that's where we met. Yeah.
You know what? I do remember that.
Yeah.
I do remember that. So you went over there. You basically took a walk off the end of the plank and went right into the drink and did it. So
literally right into the drink too.
right into it. So you really, your potential to do great things is there, and I know it. I see it. I know you're Dee and Robin see it, and I know you see it. But sometimes some of the things you say, you don't acknowledge it.
Okay.
That's what I think. But I think you're going to do great things, and I'm going to continue to bother you until I get my birthday cake. In fact, because of some things that have happened for us, I actually told Kara the other day, it might be kind of cool to go out to Vegas for just a weekend, a couple of days, just go out and visit, see what it's changed, and see how it's changed.
Oh, it's changed a lot.
And go out there and see.
We'll take you to our home bar.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, actually, we should. Yeah.
And we might just have to go out there. I'm waiting to see how things go with all the airports and the flying. Did you have any problems flying here? Nothing.
We took Breeze. Breeze has direct flights every Wednesday.
Direct flights from Vegas to here, to Jacksonville.
To Jacksonville, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Nonstop,
which is great because Jacksonville is not that far away for starters. I hate having to go 3 hours or like 4 hours to Charlotte, wait 2 hours, and then take a 30-minute flight.
Are they reasonable flights?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
It's like Spirit priced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's a good idea then. I guess we'll have to look into that. But I've told Kara that we need to start doing things. I've spent, and you know this, I have spent so much time doing everything in the pirate community for everybody. And now I just turned 67. I'd like to kind of experience a few more things before I'm no longer a pirate. So Vegas is one of the trips, and we're thinking about Ireland and Scotland.
I'd like to go to Ireland and Scotland.
Yeah, I have never been there. Now my son has been to I think Ireland or Scotland. I think Scotland because he went to see some of our family heritage there. So those are things that I want to do. So when you're doing all your, let me back up and we'll ask it this way. At Komodo, almost everything has an Asian slant to it with your pastries, true?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you go somewhere else and it's not Asian, you can slant pastry into any direction you want to slant it to.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I
didn't learn it Asian.
Right.
I learned it European. I learned it very traditional Austrian confectionery. So similar to French, not quite the same, but similar to French. That's what I learned. And then Amari School, of course, is heavy French influence. And I'm doing Asian, which is like opposite end of the spectrum. I mean, most of it is presentation-wise that makes it Asian. I will say that. There are a few flavors, but yeah. You could slant it virtually any direction.
Do they do sushi at Komodo?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
One of my favorite meals. I love sushi. So, Davey, do we have any other questions that have popped up?
Let's see.
I don't have my glasses in, so I'm not really paying attention now. How did you get into the pirate community? Black, you're asking Nicole, right? So I'll answer it, and then you can fill in the blanks. Okay. Mr. D Gregory, who's on the thing there in the chat area, he was a part of our crew, and he dragged his daughter with him. Now, your other sister didn't really get into it at all, did she?
Yeah, neither of them were.
Yeah, but you enjoyed theater too, and so that helped. And what we do in the public as a pirate crew, a lot of it's theater.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I liked about having Nicole, even as young as she was better at audience interaction and improv with the people around us that were not pirates that we were there to entertain. She was really good at it. Even at 13, she was better than some of the other pirates that are in the crew, and they were adults in their 30s and 40s. So there's always been this connection that I have with Nicole because of my background in comedy clubs and theater and everything else. So we've always had a connection.
Right.
And I didn't have to really teach her anything. And your dad's the same way. Dee is the same way.
Right.
When I need to Dee and Nicole's mom did a great job. I will say that. You're absolutely right. They did a great job. So when we're out in public, I have pirates that are great for standing there and getting their picture taken, and I have other pirates that are great for actually dragging people into the scene and having fun with them. And Nicole is one of the ones that I never really had to push and train about. She just went ahead and did it.
Right.
So you can fill in from there. I think I covered it, but if I missed anything, you just tell everybody why you like to be a pirate then.
Yeah, so part of it was my dad had been a part of the crew. He said he had an event and I had to be a pirate, and it was in St. Augustine, and I was like, well, can I go with you? And he said, yeah, sure. And so he helped me figure out, based on what I had, what worked for pirate, and then I went to St. Augustine with him. And my first, it evolved as it always does, but my first pirate outfit was just a peasant top and a maxi skirt, and like a belt. I think that was like all I had. And I just fell in love with it, and I thought the interaction was great. I thought the people were great. I remember the first time we met actually was at the Pirate and Treasure Museum in the Tavern, and you just looked at me, kind of eyed me up and down in my outfit, and just went, "Very nice," and that was all you said to me. And then that was it. And then we were walking out, and Dad was like, "That's a really high compliment coming from him. He's like this and this, and he does this and this," and kind of told me more about your background in the pirate community. And then I just started going out more. And no, the pirates were crucial to helping me build my confidence and helping to instill some of the ideals in me that I believe today. Yeah.
And it was important to have her in there because one of the things I always pushed for the crew was that we were a family-oriented crew, and that we have some of the adults that have children in the crew. I was hoping Machete was going to be here the other night because he's grown up now too. He's like,
he really?
Yeah, he's like 14 years old now.
Oh my God.
And he was.
Machete was like this, like tiny little, like I think he was like 6 last time I saw him.
Yeah, and Machete had 2 open heart surgeries when he was less than 2 years old, and so he has this nice big scar. And so I have, for the most part, I don't think I gave you your name, Pixie Pirate. I think that came from Davey.
No, Pixie Pirate came from Davey, but officially my pirate name is Cutthroat Nicole.
Yeah.
Because there was some event where we had like baseball trading cards for all the pirates to collect. And we had to walk in how I was Dee's daughter without it being like, oh, she's Dee's daughter. So the story was I was the daughter of a rich merchant family traveling on a merchant ship, and the swashbucklers boarded the ship. And when I saw what was going on, I jumped up in the rafters. And our quartermaster at the time, Daniel McPherson, who has since passed, walked into the room and surveyed the room. And as he was walking out, I jumped out and I slashed him between his shoulder blades. And as he drew back, I put a knife to his throat and I said, "You could take me with you and live, or I'd slit your throat in front of your entire crew."
There you go.
And that's where that's my official pirate story. But I never really shared it with anyone.
Many of the pirates, I've given them their names.
Mm-hmm.
Not all of them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Dee, and Gregory, Mr. Gregory just seemed to be the right way to talk to him whenever I needed something done as a captain to the quartermaster or whatever other first mate or whatever other position he falls in. So, but Machete, for those that don't know, his real name is Micaiah. And from the time he was a little boy, I mean, just little, I always found it hilariously funny. He would have no problems with showing everybody his scar.
Yeah.
And so I always used to tell everybody, he is my enforcer. And we named him Machete. Because I'm also,
that's where his name came from.
That's where his name came from. And I was always a big fan of, I can't think of the guy's name, the Spanish.
Diego. Was it Diego?
No, a movie star.
Oh.
He did a movie called Machete. So some of his movies are not that great, but they're like B-roll movies. That's it. Danny Trejo. Yeah. Thank you, Black. I appreciate that. I couldn't remember his name. I think he's a great actor. I even his worst movies are good movies.
Right.
But if you know his background and you know everything about him, I think that's one of the things that makes it more interesting.
Yeah.
So where do you see yourself in 10 years?
Hopefully married and with kids.
Well,
Much to the baby grand dismay. Hopefully married and with kids.
10 years from now, you'll be 35. That's not bad.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
No, career-wise, the goal is that by the time I'm 32, I'll have my own place.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, but you don't know where it'll be yet.
I'm not sure where it'll be. I definitely don't want to come back to Jacksonville.
What do you think? You could do something in St. Augustine?
I think I have a few options. I could go in St. Augustine. Honestly, the idea that I'm currently working on and I've had for quite a few years, I think I could apply to just about any city and with a few tweaks make it really something special and specific to that city. So with St. Augustine, the naval history, the pirate history, the genuine pirate history, you could also go into that route with it. Which was also like a split idea I had of having like a tavern that was like walking onto the bow of a ship.
The May issue, I think it's come out now. The May issue the whole issue was about food. So they wanted me to write an article on pirate food, what pirates ate. So I did some research and found out what pirates ate and how they ate. And it wasn't just pirates, but the Navy in general.
Right.
And I found some interesting things out. Some of it I already knew, some of the things I didn't know. But there's so many things that you could do under that theme, but it wouldn't have to be exactly the same stuff. But under the same
even
theme.
presentation or like just take the flavor profiles alone, and you have like an entire culinary world you can open up. I mean, that's really something special.
On board ship, they ate soup and porridge and hardtack.
Right.
But when they were on land, they ate spicy foods, especially because we're in this part of the world. Spicy food was common.
Right.
Salamagundo was what they ate here, but I didn't know this, and in my research, I found out that salamagundo is a derivative of salmagundi, which is a French food. I didn't know that. So I learned some things, and I may have the pronunciations wrong, but it was the spelling of everything. And so some of that was in my write-up. They had me write about almost a full page. And so somewhere around 500 to 1,000 words.
Right.
And so it's been pretty, Danny Trejo. So
it's funny you mentioned you just wrote the article on pirate food and what pirates ate. My college diploma was specifically the history and the origins of French food and how French food has evolved into like the massive, huge like culinary force that it's become.
There are a lot of foods that trace their origins back to the French. A lot of them.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, and I know I'm going to get this one wrong. So if I get this one wrong, I'll go back and research and cover my ass next time. But the use of avocados, guacamole, that's what it is. Guacamole was actually the entire concept of guacamole was invented by a pirate. Believe it or not, a pirate did it. A pirate came up with it. I can't remember his name, but I'll have to go back and research it. And we may have to put it on the show. But it's food, but guacamole, and that's because all these people, all these pirates from different nationalities, and I don't remember what nationality he was. He might have been French, but they come here and they didn't have avocados over in Europe. There's no such thing. They had avocados here, and he found this fruit or vegetable. They were still arguing about it back then, and he started making guacamole, and they started taking it back to Europe, and everybody loved it. So some of the foods came from here. It's the same thing also, and most everybody doesn't understand. There wasn't rum in Europe until the New World. Because rum comes from sugarcane, most everything, the basic thing of rum. And again, we're still talking about food and drink, so we're still on course. Oh, and course, get it? Course? 7 course? Anyway, rum was not a European thing.
No.
And in many cases, neither was tequila. Tequila came from the agave plants that were here. They didn't have. Now there may have been agave plants in Spain.
You know, it's funny because now they have European rum, but it's funny because the European rum is made using the sugar beet, and it came about during World War II,
right?
because of the tariffs on imports.
Yes.
Because of the lack
And
of
they use sugar
importation.
beets.
So you use sugar beets to make rum, and it actually has. So I grew up. I didn't grow up. I learned to drink in Europe, and I drank Inlander rum.
Was it any good?
It
Not as
has
good
a
as the stuff we
very
did.
it has a very sweet flavor.
Yeah.
So it's a very different flavor.
I don't have
But
that
it's
in my
not
collection
like
yet.
it's not. I know. I gotta bring you.
we'll
Actually,
have to do that.
I gotta bring you a bottle of the
Yeah.
80%,
Yeah.
which is garbage, but
But
good shit.
like your pastries, you're doing things that are Asian fusion, but pastries in general, the history of pastries in general is French.
Yeah.
The history of many of the foods are French.
Mhm.
But when you come to the New World, the history of almost all the food in the beginning of the New World is Spanish, because the New World is started by the Spanish and the Spanish culture and the Spanish explorers. And then you move into the colonial times, which would be the 1600s, and then things were different. So the history of food has become interesting. I learned some extra things when I wrote the article. Every time they asked me to do an article, I had to do an article on how did pirates celebrate Christmas. And believe it or not, they did. Because Christmas is a Christian religion, and pirates, believe it or not, were Christian. So they celebrated the birth of Christ. Not in the same way that we do now with Christmas trees and presents and everything.
Right.
So thank you very much, Robin. There you go. 1600s was that's guacamole, right? She's looking it up. That's the other nice thing here. I can put something out there, and then everybody's going to go, wait a minute, what's that? Happy Friday? So when you make your presentations for what you're doing, what's the first thing, the second thing, and the third thing you think is the most important for your presentation?
First is always flavor for me, so I really heavily disagree with the American style of pastry and it just being so sweet you can't actually discern one flavor from the other. Second is visual, because your eyes, and my chef from college got into me this all the time. I got yelled at because I didn't care that much about presentation. I cared about having really good flavor. And then presentation, well, I guess technically you should do flavor, smell, then presentation, because your smell and your taste buds are linked. Because if you smell something really bad, you have a bad taste in your mouth.
I don't know if we mentioned this the other night when we were talking about rum, but there are some rums that if you pour a glass of rum, and it's here now, before you drink it, if it has a medicinal smell to it, it's going to have a bad flavor.
Yeah.
So yes,
it's common in gin, because gin uses a lot more botanicals.
So consistency is important too,
right?
Because the reason I didn't like sea urchin was the consistency of sea urchin was
such a funny story about sea urchin.
It looked like cat crap. I mean, for lack of a better way to describe it, and it was like, I'm not putting that in my mouth. But Tuna over at Ginger Bistro said, well, you got to try it this way. And he made it up, and it was like, wow, I should have been eating this before. So so it's a consistency in your mouth. So it's smell and taste, but it's not just taste, it's consistency too.
Right.
That's very important.
I think texture is a big thing. So my big thing, what ruins a meal quickest for me is not necessarily flavor, or I hate peas. Anyone that knows me knows I absolutely despise peas. It's texture. So if I bite into something with like when you bite into the grizzle of meat, if you get like a really fatty chunk, you're going to I have to spit it out. I can't eat the rest of the meal.
See, and I like that part.
I hate that part. I can't finish it. I can't do it. It's the texture. It just ruins it for me.
Like
and there's
squid,
a few things.
she can't do squid.
I
love squid.
Yeah,
my wife won't do squid or octopus.
I can't do
She
squid.
can't do
I have a
octopus?
funny story. Well, should I tell the story? I have this great chef, and I hope everyone here is an adult, and my dad hasn't heard this story, so I'm sorry, Dad. I have a chef, and he was a sushi chef, and we were talking, and he said, I asked him what ebi was, and he said ebi is shrimp, and uni is sea urchin, because I'd gotten the two confused. And he said, yeah, most men like the flavor of sea urchin. He knows where I'm going with this. And maybe you'll put it together. We'll see. And I was like, why does that make sense? And he said, I was like, how's that makes no sense. Sea urchin is gross. It's too salty. He goes, oh, well, he's this old Japanese guy. He goes, well, sea urchin tastes like a woman down there.
That's just nasty.
Yeah. And he's like, most women like squid or octopus because of the texture.
Got it.
I don't like it. I can't do it.
Europe may have delicious pastries, but the USA has chocolate-covered Twinkies.
That's funny.
Right. Chocolate-covered. Yeah. Look, the way I look at it, you can put bacon on anything and people will eat it.
You can put chocolate on anything. And people
Speaking
eat it.
on rum, what's your preference? Are you asking me or are you asking Nicole? If you're asking me,
He's asking Nicole.
All right, then let's ask Nicole. What's your preference on rum?
I like spice rums.
And
I like dark spice rums. I think there's more flavor.
We had Zacapa on the table up here, which you brought the other night. Is about to finish now.
It's completely done.
We in 2 nights we killed that bottle. But spice rum, I don't like white rum.
I don't like I don't like vodka because I think it tastes like rubbing alcohol, and I think white rum is very similar to vodka, where it tastes a bit like rubbing alcohol.
So here's where you would here's why I tell you, if you did this, you'd probably enjoy it. Authentic vodka is made from potatoes,
right?
And potato vodka is really pretty good.
Yeah.
But if you're drinking most vodkas that are made in this country, they're not potato vodkas.
Yeah, no, it's
They're
not.
What are they?
They're just a distilled.
Really?
It's distilled wheat and corn.
Yeah.
So there's a difference.
There's
Russian. I've had Russian vodka.
Russian vodka is great.
It's really good.
That's like water.
Yeah.
So my best friends in college were Eastern European. 2 of them were Ukrainian. 1 of them was Belarusian. He corrected my pronunciation. And they had Russian vodka.
Yeah. It's good.
It's really good. It's dangerous.
It's like gin.
Yeah.
Certain gins are made right. Are there any pixie sticks left?
Just a few.
Just a few. So, do you? I don't think I asked this. If I did, it's okay. And I haven't drank that much yet. Yeah. The night's still young. Have you used any alcohol in your pastries at all?
Yes. That's specifically what I want to do.
Is create pastries that are alcohol based or alcohol flavored?
Alcohol based. So I think most of you are rum drinkers, so you'll understand this more. Rum doesn't just taste like alcohol.
Right.
If you know how to taste good rum, there's a lot of different flavors in rum, or gin, or vodka, or whiskey, or tequila, or whatever it is. There's a lot of different flavors. And I think it would be very interesting to create a dish that's centered around the alcohol, but not just the flavor of the alcohol, but really pulling out the notes of it.
Because when you cook with alcohol, I don't know about with pastries, but when you cook with alcohol, some of the alcoholic content will burn off in the heat and leave the flavor.
Right.
Is it the same thing with pastries? You think?
Yeah. So we had in the duck skin dessert I spoke of earlier, there was bourbon in the ice cream. But if you just throw bourbon into ice cream, first of all, alcohol doesn't freeze, which spoils your the consistency of the ice cream. Second of all, alcohol has a really sharp flavor. The alcohol like itself has a really sharp flavor. So we literally lit a bowl of alcohol on fire and let all the alcohol burn off, and it reduces by about half. But then you have a more concentrated flavor of what the bourbon is. And that's what you add into your pastries.
So, as I said earlier, I make a hot buttered rum using dragon fruit. And it's dragon fruit and brown sugar and butter, real butter, all mixed together. What you do is you take the brown sugar. So if anybody, Bacardi rum cake, rum cakes are good. I like rum cakes. If you take the brown sugar and the butter and you mix it all together and you make this paste, and then you create balls of it. Okay?
Yeah.
Then what you do is you take your dragon fruit rum and you whatever amount you want to use. If I were to pour this one almost full of rum, I would use 2 of those bowls, like a melon bowler.
Right.
Okay. See, I know things. But you take 2 of those, and once this is hot, then you drop the 2 balls in there and you stir it until it's completely mixed in, and it's a good winter night drink. It really is. But the dragon fruit, I've experimented with many different rums.
The dragon fruit,
and the dragon fruit is probably my favorite of all of them. Some of them, the rums, like, there's 2 reasons I wouldn't use Zacapa, is because mostly Zacapa is a sipping rum. Why ruin a good sipping rum by putting other stuff in it? You know, so, and dragon fruit rum is actually a clear rum. It's clear. So there's my exception to the rule that I don't like clear rum. I can take the clear rum because it's got a flavor to it, dragon fruit to it, and I can make a really good hot buttered rum, and it's really good.
Right.
So whiskey. Now we're talking.
Oh, you're such a whiskey drinker.
I made a whiskey sauce for bread pudding last night. It's the only time Lauren likes whiskey. Wow. Bread pudding. And that's an English dish. So do we have any other questions popping up, Davey? Do you have any?
I already asked this. Pixie Sticks left. I knew she probably
all right. Very good. So let's conclude.
Yeah, we're going on 1 hour and 16 minutes.
Yep. Which is cool.
Oops.
Not a problem. The purpose of the guest appearance, like we talked about, in the future, all the people that are buying the memberships, you'll get instant access to all of these with our guests from now on. That's the purpose of it. And one of the things that was told to me, and I didn't necessarily believe in it right away because I thought it was too businesslike, but it's true. If you're paying for something, you'll be more apt to want to enjoy it.
Yeah.
So that's why we're doing the membership. So this is our first one. It was an experiment. I think it worked really well. Davey was able to get it out there the way it needed to be, and everybody popped in. So I'm gracious to all of you for coming in on this one. This one will actually be on our YouTube channel, but it will be in a private segment or a private channel. So only those that are members can actually go back and listen or watch it whenever they want. But I think it worked out well. You're leaving Wednesday morning to go back to Vegas.
Yes.
I hope that you'll come back again soon. It was a pleasure to actually get to meet you.
Likewise.
And you've been given the warning by all of her uncles. But I would like to see you guys come back when you get a chance.
Yeah, of course.
Come back and maybe be a part of anything else we're doing. We'll even dress you both as pirates if we have to.
That would be so much fun, actually.
Yeah, there weren't any events that I knew of happening this weekend, but we went on Saturday. So everything was like empty.
Yeah.
It was super empty.
Yeah, it's very dead right now.
Yeah.
But I'll send you a list of some of the events we have coming up. And if you can come back, if you can go to FanX out in Utah, I mean, if you come back here and want to go in August, come back and go in August. But since this show has primarily been about you give everybody a closing remark. Gotcha.
Thank you. Yeah, right. Thank you for tuning in. Really enjoyed chatting, and I hope everyone enjoyed hearing about my crazy life and what it's evolved into from the little pirate girl, for those of you that knew me and met me, into the grown woman that I am today, with is very headstrong and then very.
So my brother is Ransom Mayhem. He's over in Panama City, and he has a big event in October. It's a 3-day event, a pirate event. We go over there on Thursday, so we're there on Thursday night.
Friday, Saturday.
So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and come back on Monday. So it's a 4.5, 5-day event. And I believe the last time I talked to my brother, they've got between 20 and 24 period correct tents in an actual pirate village going to be set up.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
And we're providing at least 6 of them.
Well,
cool.
So it becomes a camping thing. And bring pastries. And Blackball is part of my brother's crew over there with Pirates of the White Sands. And bring pastries. Hey, you're not getting pastries before I get a birthday cake. Ladies and gentlemen, we thank you for tuning in and helping us with this experiment. I think it worked well. Do remember our website email, Davey, do you have a way to go ahead and put that up there real quick? Our email, there it is, captainsquarterspodcast21@gmail.com. If you thought this went well, send us an email. Let us know what you thought. If you thought we could improve it in other ways, send me an email. I truly do not have a problem with constructive criticism. Constructive criticism is very important. Destructive criticism is a waste of everybody's time. So, Will the Historian says, love listening to your story. Safe travels back. And Dad, talk to you later this week. Yep, I'll give you a call in the middle of the week and see how the baby's doing. I'm so excited because they're trying to make plans to come here for the Celtic Festival.
Oh, great, in March.
And because we're McRae's.
It's birthday weekend, no? It's like the fourth or second weekend, no?
It's the second weekend in March.
It's my birthday.
Yeah, it is. You should come.
That'd
be a good time to do it. You could be a pirate that way.
Yeah, actually.
And we'll find a Cuban tilt for you. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we're not even going to do the sign off that we normally do. I don't think it's necessary. Do you, Davey?
No.
No, I don't think so. This is a different part of the show, and we have a good time with it. It was wonderful to have all of you here. I can't say enough how happy I am that this actually is working the way it should be, and look forward to this now. I have about 8 guests in the wings coming up, and we'd love to have all of you be a part of those guest performances also. So from me, we'll see you all next week, 8 o'clock, Monday, every Monday from the oldest city in the nation. But for now, baby, take us out of court.
With wit and charm, they make it clear. History's lessons are ever dear.
There you go. I think it went well. What do you think, Davey?